In the middle of a Wednesday afternoon, under a clear February sky, 26-year-old Gabryel Ayers was simply sitting in her car on Chicago's South Side when three masked gunmen ran toward her vehicle and unleashed a torrent of gunfire. More than 50 bullets tore through the white sedan while her 14-month-old daughter sat strapped in her car seat just feet away.
What's the purpose of shooting at a car when you know there's a child in the car? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it could be a lot of other people who's lost their life here today.
Kirk Bell is the godfather of 26-year-old Gabryel Ayers, who relatives identify as the woman who was killed in her white Chevy sedan around 1:30 p.m. at 79th and May Street, her car then crashing into a van.
This here is unbelievable. This young lady was a beautiful young lady with a beautiful child, and life just cut short. For what?
Gabryel died at the hospital. Her boyfriend survived his wounds, and somehow, impossibly, the baby girl emerged without a single scratch. If you've ever wondered how some lives are taken while others are spared in the same terrible moment, this story will stay with you long after it ends. The attack happened just steps from a church in broad daylight, with witnesses nearby. This isn't a story about strangers in the dark. This is about a young mother whose life ended on a familiar street in her own neighborhood, and about the child who will grow up knowing her mother's final moments were filled with violence she could have never anticipated. There are rumors everywhere as to what really transpired, and I find this quite interesting.
Oh, so they wanted the mama who was talking about their dead brother? Alright, y'all, so it's more to the story. It's an update on that Chicago woman, Gabryel, who lost her life after 4 men ran up and they shot the car over 50 times when her daughter was in the car with them. A lot of people was blaming her and blaming the boyfriend. Come to find out, the boyfriend had dropped this when they was driving. I mean, it had to be somebody that was either following them or just lurking on alert time. Cause I mean, they got to him pretty quick. He must have had to been over in somebody's neighborhood that they ain't supposed to been over. I just don't get, why would you taunt niggas when you know you got a baby in a car? Why would you drop your location and want a nigga to come hunt you on any playtime like that when you know you got a baby in the car? Now y'all, the target really was the mom. No disrespect. They said she wanted to be in that lifestyle. But not even just 90 days ago, she was just dissing the ops, dead people. My thing is, I don't know why women nowadays be feeling like they can insert themselves in this type of beef. Like, if you ain't doing the killing and you at home being a mama and you got family coming in and out your house, into your house, why are you trying to put yourself into these people shit? Then y'all always want to get a boyfriend who be like this, but then y'all want better, or have a kid and he end up dead or in jail. Now, I be faking lying to y'all if I tell y'all I feel sad the same way like I did yesterday. I don't, once I found out this information. I just never respected people who like diss the dead. What do you get out of it? Sometimes you just gotta watch what you say. He was talking about how they dragged him out the car, blah, blah, blah. And look, the same way. She went out the same way, y'all. Not only that, you already got 2 flunky dummies crash outs then posted about it. They want the clout.
Gabryel Ayers, known to those who loved her as Gabby, was building a life one careful step at a time. She worked as a hairstylist in Chicago, earning her living with skill and care, creating beauty in a world that could often feel harsh. Those who knew her spoke of a woman devoted to her daughter, someone who loved her baby with the kind of fierce protectiveness every parent understands. At 26, she was young but determined, navigating motherhood and work in a city where safety could never be taken for granted. Her family would later describe her warmth, her dedication, the way she lit up when she was with her child. Kirk Bell, her godfather, spoke with a heartbreak that resonated through every word. He couldn't fathom how anyone could open fire knowing a baby was inside that car. The question hung in the air like smoke, unanswered and unbearable. Gabryel's life wasn't extraordinary in the way we often measure such things. She wasn't famous or wealthy. She was simply a person trying to make her way forward, raising her daughter, working with her hands, hoping for better days ahead. February 4th, 2026 began like any other day in the Auburn Gresham neighborhood on Chicago's South Side. The streets were familiar, the rhythms predictable. Around 1:25 in the afternoon, Gabryel sat in the front passenger seat of a white Chevrolet sedan parked on South May Street near 79th. Her boyfriend, 27-year-old Devin Draper, was with her. In the back seat, properly secured in her car seat, was Gabryel's 14-month-old daughter. Then, without warning, 3 masked figures emerged and ran toward the vehicle. They carried long guns and they opened fire immediately. The first volley of shots shattered windows and tore through metal. Witnesses later recalled the deafening sound, the way people dove for cover, the terrible certainty that no one inside that car could possibly survive. After the initial barrage, the gunmen briefly retreated. The white sedan, riddled with bullets, lurched forward and crashed into a brown GMC van nearby. But the attack wasn't over. The 3 shooters climbed into a red Alfa Romeo that pulled alongside the crashed vehicle, and they fired again. More bullets, more glass, more destruction. Video captured by a witness shows the chilling scene, the gunmen approaching without hesitation, firing with brutal efficiency, then speeding away as if this act of violence was nothing more than an errand. When the gunfire finally stopped, more than 50 shell casings littered the ground. Gabryel had been struck multiple times. Devin took bullets to his arm and lower body, and in the back seat, amid the shattered glass and spent casings, the baby cried, still holding a lollipop, physically untouched by the chaos that had just consumed her mother's life. Emergency responders arrived within minutes. Gabryel was rushed to Little Company of Mary Hospital, her injuries critical. Despite every effort, she died from her wounds. Devin Draper was transported to a different facility and survived, though the physical and emotional scars would remain. The baby, miraculously unharmed, was taken to safety. Chicago police immediately launched an investigation, but answers proved elusive. Detectives reviewed surveillance footage from nearby buildings, canvassed the neighborhood for witnesses, and examined the crime scene with painstaking detail. They confirmed what witnesses had reported: 3 masked gunmen, a coordinated attack, a getaway vehicle that was later found abandoned and burned beyond recognition. What remained unclear was the motive. Why this car? Why this moment? Why Gabryel? Police offered no public statements suggesting she was targeted specifically, nor did they indicate this was a random act. The investigation continued, but as days passed without arrests, frustration mounted in a community already weary of violence. Cook County Crime Stoppers, along with St. Sabina Parish, offered a combined $20,000 reward for information leading to an arrest. Father Michael Flieger of St. Sabina Church, located just over a block from the shooting, pleaded with the public not to remain silent. He spoke of accountability, of justice, of the need for someone, somewhere, to step forward with what they knew. Commander Andre Poston of the Chicago Police Department's 6th District assured residents that investigators were working tirelessly, but reassurances can only carry so much weight when a killer remains free and a family remains shattered. 2 days after Gabryel's death, hundreds of people gathered at the corner of 79th and May. They came to remember her, to demand justice, and to cry out against the relentless tide of gun violence that has claimed too many lives on Chicago's streets. Mayor Brandon Johnson stood among them, his words somber and deliberate. He spoke of tragedy tearing at the soul of the city, of work that remains unfinished, of promises that feel increasingly hollow in the face of such loss. Pamela Bosley, co-founder of Purpose Over Pain, addressed the crowd with the authority of someone who understands this grief intimately. Her organization was formed by parents who had lost children to gun violence, and she warned those gathered that without action, without change, they would find themselves standing at another vigil, mourning another life. Her words carried weight because they came from lived experience, from years of fighting a battle that never seems to end. Ex-Illinois State Senator Willie Preston called the shooters cowards and vowed they would be hunted down. Alderman David Moore spoke of divine intervention, pointing to the baby's survival as evidence of something larger at work. But even in those moments of faith and fury, there was an undercurrent of exhaustion.
Y'all, I wanted to talk about this girl, Gabryel, that got shot up and killed in Chicago. Rest in peace to her, but whoa. Karma is going to come back every time. That's why you have to be careful what you say, what you do, how you treat people, the things you're laughing about, you know, laughing about people who are dying, and then you turn around and get killed is crazy. And then, like, it's broad daylight. I know it's Chicago. Chicago's different, right? And the fact that she had a baby in the car, that baby was unharmed, the angels were looking over that baby. Y'all have to be really careful because this could happen anywhere, not only in Chicago, anywhere. It's sad, but when you look back at her page, it's like, damn, if she was talking that crazy online, who knows what she was talking like in person? Who knows what she was doing in person? Be careful, y'all, and do unto others how you would want to be done to you. That is all. That is tough.
This case remains unsolved. The investigation continues, but time moves forward whether justice arrives or not. Gabryel Ayers is remembered not as a statistic, not as another headline in a city plagued by violence, but as a young woman whose life mattered, whose daughter deserved to grow up with a mother, whose death demands more than our temporary attention. Until those responsible face accountability, her story remains unfinished, and the questions her godfather asked still echo without answers.